Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good? Boxing Source here, and we got a great little thing here right now as we got a heavyweight contender originally hailing from Sweden, now doing this thing over stateside, should be over in the New York area. Heavyweight there with the record of 22 wins and just one loss, and was going to, have a big fight coming up, but we just had some recent news that has, really disappointed our guy over here. But he's still all in, Mr. Otto Wallin. What's going on, my man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, not a problem, not a problem. I mean, you did have a press conference earlier today that kind of like addressed the situation, what was going on, as we did receive the news in reference to your scheduled opponent, Dillian Whyte. You were scheduled to fight next Saturday over in the UK, but he suffered an injury to his shoulder, which, had him withdraw from the fight. So that kind of like cancels your plans from going over to UK stateside and being over there to fight him. I know that you're like really disappointed, but like kind of go into a little bit more about what happened once you received that news.
Yeah, I was basically on my way to the airport and I got a text saying, hey, check your emails. Dillian Whyte says he has an injury and don't board that flight, pretty much. And then they said he's going to have a doctor look at him tomorrow, and then they're going to make a decision whether they're going to move forward to fight.
Oh man, so it was like you pretty much had your bags packed. You were
Yeah,
done with camp over on this side, and you were ready to head over there to kind of like get adjusted to the time zone and everything like that. And that's when you got that news. And stuff like that is like very disappointing, especially with the magnitude of this particular fight, given that Dillian Whyte is currently viewed as the interim WBC heavyweight champion. So a fight against him and a win against him puts you there as the interim WBC champion, most likely next in line for the WBC heavyweight championship. And of course, we know that the WBC champion is Tyson Fury, and you did have your battle with Tyson Fury, a couple years ago. And a good number of people were looking forward to seeing if you could get in there with Tyson Fury again. So like, what does this mean as far as like your whole timeline, as far as like getting back into heavyweight title contention?
I mean, this was a huge opportunity. Like you said, Dillian Whyte is the interim champion. And after our fight was signed, the WBC ruled that the winner of our fight is going to fight Fury. So they had that in mind, and they knew that I could be very well could be the winner of our fight, and then I fight Fury again. So it's a huge fight and a big setback that this had happened. Now we are trying to go to the bottom with everything and have the fight rescheduled.
Yeah, so at least within the next couple of weeks or so, we will get more news in reference to that. Having that fight rescheduled. And know that you kind of like talked about it in the press conference earlier today, along with your promoter Dimitri Salita of Salita Promotions, on like how the WBC would be able to work this thing so that this particular fight could get rescheduled, because this is kind of like a final eliminator of sorts for that WBC heavyweight championship. And you don't want to be, kind of like taken out of the picture just because, someone else got an injury and they don't have something else, set in place for you to kind of like get an opportunity to fight for a world title. So it's more about, these next couple of days trying to follow through and making sure this particular fight happens like sometime in 2022.
Exactly, yeah. That's our main goal, and that's what we're looking at. We're trying to push them to do the right thing here and reschedule the fight. Regarding his injury, he might be injured, but they haven't provided us any information at all about the injury. They only sent us a message saying that he's injured, he can't fight, and that's it. So we want to have a statement from his doctor, and then we want to have an independent doctor look at him just to find out what's going on and to make sure that they don't just not trying to get out of this fight and to fight Fury. Because, we had contract signed, I was ready, and to give me this news, right before I'm supposed to leave, it's not ideal, of course. So we just want to have everything on the table and see understand what has happened here.
Yeah, in reference to all of that, I mean, you got the instance where you're preparing for this bout. You had the fight signed, you signed the contract, went through camp, gone through the whole thing, going in the gym with sparring partners and everything like that. Had, like you said, you were pretty much ready to board the plane over. Had the flight booked and all of that. That's cost that you pretty much had to go through in order to prepare for this particular fight. And so now, with this report of Dillian Whyte being injured, it's like all that money that was like invested in that particular camp preparing for this fight, that's pretty much like out the window. And so
Yeah.
right now you gotta, dot your I's and cross your T's to make sure that this actual fight happens. And they gotta be able to be, on point as far as like what the specific injury is to Dillian Whyte, so that okay, y'all weren't y'all weren't trying to BS around or nothing like that and trying to get out of this particular fight in order to try to get to Tyson Fury. So I say that y'all, they have to provide those documents so that you'll be able to say, okay, y'all had this injury, let's see if we can reschedule this particular bout, and we just move on from there. It's not any much different than the report that we had with Josh Taylor, saying that he's injured, but they're able to reschedule their bout for 2022. So he's not able to fight, Jack Catterall on their scheduled date in December, but they're able to reschedule it. So you need the same thing here in a sense.
Right. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just common sense that if he's injured, that's fine. It happens in boxing. People get injured. I've been injured in my camp, but I pulled through. I was gonna fight, but if he's injured, just provide us with some, the right information. Because as it is now, we only have their word, and I mean, we can't just go with that. We can't just go with somebody saying, "Hey, he's injured, he can't fight." We actually we need some facts here. We need some proof, and that's not being a bully or anything. That's just using common sense. And I signed this contract. I was supposed to fight. I was ready to fight, and then for them to not be serious about this, that's not nice. And I mean, it's not well appreciated by me.
Gotcha. Now, on that sense, when we had our last conversation a while ago, you talked to me about, before your fight with Travis Kaufman, that you had a battle with COVID and that you had to, go through all of that, and you had your family members, go through COVID as well. So you had to, go through that whole quarantine process, 14 days, 21 days, whatever it is, get yourself, all the way back, and then prepare for that fight against Travis Kaufman. So, with that, that you had to have all of the documentations and things like that to kind of like, if that fight was originally scheduled for a date, at least you say, okay, hey, I tested positive for COVID-19, so this fight basically has to be delayed or something like that. And you need that here in this particular sense with this injury.
Right. And even before I had COVID, I had a serious foot injury that I got through. And so, it's part of the game. Injuries happen, but then, Dillian is a guy that takes pride in him taking a lot of tough fights and that. So please, now when it really comes down to it, show that you're a man of your word and make the right thing here.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. We have someone on the live conversation here. He said like, if there was like any way that I guess Dillian Whyte kind of like weaseled his way out of it. This is one of our contributors to the Boxing Source. It's brother Matt from MVO, Most Valid Opinion. He says if you're not able to fight Dillian Whyte, then maybe you could fight Luis Ortiz in the Gervonta Davis card or Tank Davis card. I know in our last conversation that, Luis Ortiz was one of those opponents that, maybe you would have wanted to step in the ring against. But, I mean, you still have this thing here where you still got to see what's going on with, Dillian Whyte before you could have any other option of fighting any other opponent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got to have – our goal here is to have the fight rescheduled. But it's interesting you mentioned Luis Ortiz, because before we got this offer to fight Whyte, I had said yes to fight Luis Ortiz, and we were working on that fight, and we were just waiting on a date, and then in the end, seemed like he didn't want him. I mean, that's the only way I read it, because I had said yes to everything, and we were on board, and then nothing happened. So then, in the middle of all that, we got this fight. We got this offer to fight Dillian Whyte, so we went with that instead. But yeah, that's how we played out.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I mean, you were pretty much in line to, have a, big high level fight there in the heavyweight division with Luis Ortiz, but that kind of fell through. But this opportunity at the time had dropped in your lap, and you were like, oh man, yeah, Dillian Whyte, interim WBC champ. Of course, I'm gonna
Yeah,
take that fight.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, the thing is like right now it's just really, really bad situation. But like you said, you got to have, the proof. I mean, they, like we say over here, they got to have the receipts. And they don't,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And if they don't have the receipts, you know what I'm saying? It's like that would be a bad look on their part.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because I mean, it's not. You don't have to be a. You don't have to be a doctor to understand that. Hey, please, yes, some documentation. Yes, show you can. There hasn't then. It's no need to be rumors. Anything. Yes, show us the documents. Show us some proofs. Show us the receipt, and then we know. So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Now, I know that you had you had the battle over there in the Mohegan Sun Casino after Travis Kaufman. You had a fight there against Dominic Brazil, where you had like a very, very good performance there against Brazil. Had the unanimous decision win there, but like kind of like go through that particular fight there, because I know that you were talking about being in camp in New York, preparing for that particular fight, and then just making that little drive up or whatever it is to Uncasville, Connecticut, to have that fight against Dominic Brazil, who was a former WBC title contender.
yeah, no, that was a good fight. I felt like it came at a good timing for us. I had that win over Kaufman, and then Brazil was a natural step up, I think. So that was a good performance by me, but I know I can do even better. And going 12 rounds with him was a good experience also. So I think a lot of things that I do well in there, and there's some things that I can improve on. And we've been working on that. And I honestly feel like I'm getting better all the time. I'm always training, always very serious about my sport, and I have a great team around me. So I feel like I'm getting better. And, I was just ready for this fight, which is unfortunate now that it's not going to happen. But we're hoping, of course, like I said now a few times, that we want to reschedule.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now we got another question on here with the live chat. Matt from MVO, Most Valid Opinion, says that you might not have a relationship with PBC or anything like that, but I guess he like missed the thing where you would have had a potential fight between you and Luis Ortiz that could have been made if it wasn't this thing here with Dillian Whyte. So do you still like have a relationship with Premier Boxing Champions through Dimitri Salita and Salita Promotions?
No, right now I'm a free agent pretty much. I mean, I'm with Salida Promotions, but I was never with the PBC. I was with Showtime, and I had a deal in place with them. But for this fight, they said that you can go and fight Dillian Whyte. That's no problem. And then after that, we'll see what happens with us. So right now, I would say that I'm basically a free agent.
So you
That's
could
my understanding.
fight, yeah, just like fight anybody. I mean, like I said, I mean, it could be Luis Ortiz, it could be, Dillian Whyte here, Dillian Whyte, or maybe, you have something there with, multiple guys there in the heavyweight division that's there, so you could pretty much like get in the ring with anybody, as long as they have the right deal for you, you'll be able to say yes and sign and have something, in place to step in the ring and fight them.
Yeah, right. And that's a good position to be in. Being able to take the best fights.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, as far as like those potential fights that could be out there, just seeing, you had this thing with Dillian Whyte. We're seeing if that's gonna, end up happening sometime next year. They just reschedule it, and it'll be sometime next year. But after that particular fight, you get the win over Dillian Whyte. Would you, see if they could just try to say, okay, Mauricio Solomon, this the deal. We beat Dillian Whyte. I'm the interim champ. I want a shot at the WBC World Champion. I want my fight with Tyson Fury once again. Would that be like your plan after getting that fight against Dillian Whyte?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the main goal, to be the world champion, fight for the championship. And the WBC had already ruled that the winner of our fight is gonna fight Fury. So it wouldn't even have been a question. That's what they've said. So that's what we go with. And I mean, they ruled that after mine and Dillian fight was agreed on and signed. So that should still stand. That
Yeah.
we still have to fight to get the right to fight Fury.
Yeah, that's the thing there. They by them saying that, they just basically made, your fight against Dillian Whyte a final eliminator for that WBC heavyweight championship. And so while they had this report of the injury to Dillian Whyte, that still doesn't, say, okay, we could scrap this final eliminator. Nah, it shouldn't really work like that. He should still be able to have this fight, reschedule it, have it sometime in 2022. And then after that goes down, then, you could go right in there against the WBC heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, so, that was, most of the stuff that I wanted to, kind of like jump on as far as like getting my one-on-one time with you. I did have, listened into what happened there at the press conference. I got everything from, you and Demetrius to lead off of that. And of course, having my one-on-one time with you. I thank you very much for taking the time to join here on the Boxing Source. And we're definitely going to see if Dillian Whyte comes up with the paperwork and turns it in. Like I said, you got to have the receipts, right? You got to have the receipts. So we're going to see over these next couple of weeks if Dillian Whyte has those receipts, and then we'll be able to see you against Dillian Whyte over there in the UK sometime early next year.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Thank you very much.
All right, not a problem there. Thanks for joining the Boxing Source. That is Otto Wallin there, and we are definitely going to be seeing him in the ring in the near future against Dillian Whyte. So we're going to see how that goes. But I thank everyone for joining in live here with Otto Wallin, and we will catch y'all later.